All right, guys, welcome back. Today is August 23rd, 2025, Saturday. It's very bleak outside. It's been rainy already today. It probably will be again soon. And I'm right in front of me, in front of the car, in the bushes, there's this big white bird. Oh, it's incredible. He just got a lizard. He's eaten a lizard. He's got it in his beak. It's like hanging out of both sides of his beak. Pretty remarkable. Anyway, so yeah, what was I saying about the weather? Yeah, it's nice. It's 78 degrees right now, very humid, but it's better than being in the 90s. I hope you guys are doing well. I came off of a whole month of making videos almost every day and then took a little bit of a break. Kind of wish I hadn't done that because then your imagination starts to grow dull. So I need to get back on the ball here. I did make a live stream earlier in the week. I think it was what was it? Tuesday I did. Hope you watched that. Anyway, so I went to work last Monday morning and one of my coworkers called me and said, hey, you know that new apartment complex you were trying to get into? Now, let me explain. I work for a utility company, for those of you who don't know. I work in meter service. So I'm one of those guys who goes out to different locations, different accounts, and if you haven't paid your bill in a while, I cut you off for non-payment. Or I try to encourage payment by my sheer presence of being there. And we give people a lot of breaks. We really do. We're not horrible people doing this, but their perception is already there, indelibly imprinted in people's minds. But anyway, this new apartment complex, it's so new. It looks institutional. It almost looks like a modern asylum. It's just strange. Anyway, so these meters are on every floor. And this thing is about 4 or 5 stories high. So there's a meter room on every floor. And each meter room has just this bank of meters, which means that you've got probably, 20 meters on each bank, electric meters. Well, I couldn't get into it the week prior. So my coworker called me and says, hey, you know that apartment complex? Well, I got in, but you have to go into the office and sign in and do all this other stuff, but they're going to try to get us a key so we don't have to go to the office anymore. So later on the week, why don't you go there and see if you can get it from them? I said, okay, cool. All right, I can do that. 2 days after that, I got an order to go replace a meter for whatever reason, to replace a meter on the 3rd floor. So I get there and everything is so locked down. Like I said, it's like some kind of a modern asylum. Right, that's what it looks like. It's not. It's an income-based apartment complex. But just by looking at it and trying to get into the facility, that's what it seems like. So I go to the office, can't get into the office because you have to have a fob to swipe. I don't know why they're so locked down. Like, what would people want from them, right? It's not Washington, D.C. It's not the Vatican City. So anyway, one of their tenants walked out of the office, and while the door was still kind of open, I just brushed it open, and there's a lady standing inside. There's 2 of them, actually. And this one woman turned around, and as soon as she looked at me, she had this intense look of disinterest in helping me. It couldn't have been more obvious. I mean, here's the thing. Some people just have that kind of a face, but with others, you can tell they just have a horrible disposition. And I said, hey, I'm with such company, this company. I said, I need to get onto the 3rd floor. All I need to do is replace the meter. I was told that you guys might have a key for me. And the other lady who made the arrangements with my coworker said, oh, I'm still working on it. It'll be a while. She goes, I'll send you with this first woman that I saw when I came in, the woman with the horrible look on her face. I said, okay. So she walks out with me. We get into the elevator. I follow her into the elevator. This is one of those elevators that you need a fob to get up and down in. You can't operate the elevator without this key fob. Okay, so I can't get anywhere without anybody helping me. And she told her to go help me. So we're staying in the elevator, and the door is still open, and she sees this FedEx guy trying to get some packages up the 2 steps to the 1st floor. Just the 2 steps. She runs out of the elevator and goes to him. And I'm standing there, and the elevator door takes a little bit to close for some reason. So I stand there, and I'm like, oh, I guess maybe the door's just going to stay open. I'm going to stay here. No, the elevator door starts to close, and I thought, okay, well, she knows I'm going to the 3rd floor. I'll wait for her up there. I get up there, and it's all open, so I'm looking over the balcony. I can hear her, but then I stop hearing her. It's like she's just gone. I wait a good 5 minutes, which felt like 20 minutes, okay, because I got things to do. And I decide I'll go back down to the office and find out what happened. So I go back down there. I don't have any way of letting myself in, so I kind of get their attention. I go in, and the I guess the manager, the nice lady, I told her, I said, hey, listen, my hostess disappeared on me. I don't know where she went. It was kind of weird. She's like, really? I go, yeah. I don't know. I can't get in. I was in the elevator, and she just walked out of the elevator and never came back. I said, so I don't know what's going on, but I still need to get in now. She goes, okay, well, let me give you the keys. Okay, well, that'll work too. So she gave me the key and the key fob. I got in the elevator, went to the 3rd floor, opened it up, got inside, replaced the meter. I come back down, and I go back to the office. I let myself in with the key fob, because, everything's so tight. Don't know why. But I go in, I give the keys back to the lady. I said, hey, I give them back to her, but I did spot that first lady sitting at her desk, just sitting at her desk as I walked by. So I thought, I'm going to say something to her about this. So as I'm going back, I stop I stand in her doorway. I said, hey, where'd you go? You just left me. And she just looks at me like, this look of bewilderment. She goes, what are you talking about? And I go, you left me in the elevator. Like you just walked out. You disappeared. Where'd you go? And she says, I didn't know I was supposed to help you. Now, I can't tell you what I was really thinking in my head, but you know what I was thinking. Probably. There are words that come to mind. And I was like, well, I couldn't help myself. She deliberately sent you with me. So, is everything okay? Like, are you all right? She goes, yeah, I'm good. Okay, I guess that's all that matters then. I called my coworker, and he told me, because originally I thought, maybe she's just having a bad day, right? That's no excuse. But maybe something horrible happened in her life, and she just can't muster the strength or energy to be civil, right? I can forgive that. Well, I mean, forgiveness is not mine to give, I guess, right? But anyway, you get my point. So I called my coworker and I said, hey, listen, let me tell you about this, this woman, in other words. I go, let me tell you about her. And he goes, yeah, she was kind of that way with me too. Oh, so she's probably this way every day. You can't have days separated apart where she's like this with both people and she's not like this on a regular basis. So anyway, when the whole time I was talking to that woman, the other woman was just kind of snickering in the background. So I thought, okay, this is kind of an issue probably. Why isn't something done about this? It's really hard anymore to get good service anywhere. There is almost no expectation on a wide level, on a wide plane of people expecting to be congenial. Well, how can this person have this job? One of my pet peeves when I walk into, like, let's say a fast food restaurant, you walk up to the counter, because I will not do those screens where you have to touch them, because everybody else has been touching them. I got to eat with these hands, so I don't use them. And then I walk up to the countertop, or I walk up to the counter with the cash register still there, and the people always look at you like, what are you doing? And they expect you to go over and use this touchscreen. Well, no, people do use the register because you have someone designated for that. And I've seen you do exchange there. So what's the problem with me choosing to do it that way? It should be an option anyway. Anyway, not everybody pays with a card. I do, but not everybody does. But it's still my choice. And so One of my pet peeves is when I walk up and there's someone standing there and they just look at you. They don't say, "Hi, can I help you?" I don't even expect them to smile. It's nice if they do, but I don't expect them to. And that grates my nerves. I absolutely refuse to be the first one to speak. When I go up to a register and they do not greet me or acknowledge me in any way, or they just give me this look like, "Yeah, what do you want?" I will not acknowledge someone like that. In fact, most of the time I'll just walk out. It drives me nuts. I cannot stand that. And I could sit here and say, "Well, back in my day, we were always expected to do that." We were expected to do that. Not everybody did. But they also didn't keep their jobs very long either, or they got assigned to something different. And I personally, when I worked in restaurants, I didn't consider myself a customer service guy, a really people-friendly person. So I told my managers, "Don't put me up on the register. Don't put me out front with people because I'm not that friendly guy." And so they just didn't. But if you're going to be doing that, then you better provide good customer service. So what has happened? It's not just these fast food restaurants, and it's not even just young people. I think what it is that people have grown so entitled, and they believe that everything should just be given to them. There should be no expectations, and you should never expect them to be anything other than themselves. And this is one of my arguments about the whole "just be yourself" movement or philosophy, or whatever you want to call it, is that most people are just crap individuals, right? A lot of people, not most people. A lot of people are just garbage human beings. Yeah, I expect them to change. And all of us, no matter what kind of a person we are, good or bad, we could all improve, right? But no, what was preached now is you do you, right? You do you. No, you do better. You grow, you evolve as a human being. I mean, not into another species, which doesn't happen anyway. But I'm just saying, it is important. It's raining now. It's starting to rain now. It is important to step up, and I just don't see that a lot anymore. Anyway, that's my little rant for today. I was going to get into some more, but I think I've just taken up enough time talking about this. What do you guys think about all of that? Anyway. So I do have a quote by a man named Oscar Levant. I had to look this guy up. I found out that he wore a lot of different hats. He was a pianist, a composer, a comedian, many other things. He's apparently very, very funny as a comedian. And Jack Parr, back in the day, had him on his show. And Jack Parr asked him, because this guy, Oscar Levant, was hooked on prescription medication, and they never knew what kind of shape he was in when he came on. But he was very quick-witted, and Jack Parr asked him, he said, "What do you do for exercise?" And Oscar Levant said, "Well, I stumble and then I fall into a coma." But that's not really the quote I wanted to share with you. The quote I wanted to share with you was, he said one time, "Underneath this flabby exterior is an enormous lack of character." So, yeah, he was very sharp, and I can't say these things. I can't reiterate what people say in the way they say them. But yeah, underneath this flabby exterior is an enormous lack of character. Sometimes, people always say it's underneath, it's inside that counts. It's what's underneath that counts. Beauty is skin deep. Yeah, sometimes people are pretty ugly on the inside. Sometimes they are. You can't just work on the outside. You gotta work on the interior as well. All right, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think that's going to be about it for me today. I'm going to try to come back with another one tomorrow, but I enjoy the fact that you have stayed with me this long in the video. All right. Catch you in the next one. In the meantime, be wise.